But Brian, on to the highlights from Tuscaloosa. The Saban and Miles rivalry took a back seat to the major BCS implications of the game. A win would put LSU back in the driver's seat for a BCS title game. Let's go ahead and roll those highlights so you can take a look. Eddie George on hand, the former Tennessee Titan, on hand to enjoy all the goodness. There was all defense in the first quarter, so let's take you on into the second quarter as Jordan Jefferson scampers on 3rd and 7 for a 15-yard run down the sideline, which would set up this pass to D'Angelo Peterson for his first career touchdown. Good job, D'Angelo, as he would put the Tigers up 7-3 going into the half.
One key in this game was Alabama halftime adjustments. They decided to just hand the ball off to the truck that they call Mark Ingram. The Heisman hopeful would not disappoint as he would break it 18 yards here. That run would set up a 21-yard touchdown pass from Greg McElroy to Darius Hanks and allow Alabama to take a 10-7 lead. LSU punt would pin Alabama deep in their own end zone, and this hit by Drake Nevis would get an intentional grounding penalty in the end zone, and thus 2 points safety for LSU.
That's a safety. However, Charles Scott on the next drive following that safety, right there after a 34-yard run, broken clavicle, out for the season. As you see him walking on into the locker room, we're going to miss you, Chuck.
Stephen Ridley would spell Scott on this drive and take it 8 yards around the right-hand side for a LSU Tiger touchdown. And on Bama's next possessions, Greg McElroy would find his favorite target, Julio Jones. He would take the screen pass down the left side, 73 yards. He was basically untouched there as Brandon Taylor would miss the tackle. Alabama would take that score 21-15. A lead-tipping field goal late, and LSU would go on to lose by a final score of 24-15. Charles Scott was piling on the yardage with 84 yards on 13 carries before he left with the unfortunate shoulder injury. The Crimson Tide corners held LSU's flashy receivers in check, keeping the passing game to under 200 yards and only giving up one touchdown through the air. Crimson Tide defensive backs also got one INT on Jared Lee late in the game.
However, a bunch of new wide receivers showing their faces for this game for the Tigers, so that showed a little bit of a spotlight. But on to the weekly polls we go. LSU fell to 11th in the coaches poll with a loss. Meanwhile, Cincinnati jumped Boise State to get into the top 5. Another surprising one-loss team, Pittsburgh, also jumped into the top 10.
The AP poll is where it gets a little more interesting. With Oregon and unbeaten Iowa losing, the LSU Tigers remain at the 9th spot, while TCU climbed from 6th all the way to 4th.
But Brian, now we go from interesting to letting the madness begin in the BCS computer rankings. LSU moved up, yes, we said it, up in the BCS even after losing to Alabama this weekend. There still might be a long shot for LSU to fall into the Sugar Bowl with a Bama or Florida loss before the SEC championship game in December. But with the win over the Tigers, the Crimson Tide reclaimed their number 2 spot in the BCS. Clearly, as you can see, it's all about SEC football here in this part of the country.